Having spent last week looking at the Christian worldview as well as the general concept of worldview, we turn this week to looking at just a few rather significant worldviews in contemporary society, and very broadly, globally. We'll spend some time in the first half of this series of lectures looking at Islam. Now we might say, okay, well, this is a Bible class. Why am I spending so much time thinking about Islam? Well, it's important for us as Christians to have an idea about what Islam entails, especially since we hear so much about it in our contemporary society and in the news. So hopefully we'll cut through some of the rhetoric and some of the vague things that are sometimes said about Islam in a variety of outlets and get a better understanding of Islam, but then also think about how Islam compares to the Christian worldview, some places where there are agreements, some places where there are important disagreements, as well as some ways in which a Christian might interact with a Muslim, especially with the idea of leading them to the gospel. The second half of that section, so we'll talk about Islam, then we'll also talk about atheism. While atheism isn't a huge philosophical group at the current time, it is something that has become a lot more prominent in recent years. And so it's important, I think, to understand a little bit more about atheism, other than atheists don't believe that there's a God, as well as think about what are some important ways for us to interact with this kind of viewpoint, and how might one share the gospel with an atheist as well. The last video, again, will come from Michael Sandel. And this is the last of the Michael Sandel videos, so hopefully you've enjoyed him. I think he's a very good presenter. But Sandel presents us this week with a look at consumerism, and particularly the moral limits of markets is what the name of the video is. And thinking about those kind of consumerist type of attitudes that we have in our society. Is the market good for morality? And can the market have moral positive things in our society? Or is it the opposite? Does market economy, does capitalism lead us towards an immoral standard, or does it encourage morality? There's a lot of debate about this issue, and so once again I would say I think Sandel's a good presenter, but I don't necessarily agree with everything he presents, and his viewpoint is just one of a lot of other people who would have different viewpoints. So the important point here is for us to consider these other types of worldviews, even though we're not specifically focusing on Bible study this week. We are, I think, kind of encouraging us to think biblically about some of these things that we're looking at. So hopefully, even though it's not a Bible study, it will be something that will be profitable for you as we continue to progress through the course.